Let's go ahead and take a look at the beam category. I'm going to clear sneak enter to get all of that manual information gone. And keep in mind that EOS divides the beam category into 3 subcategories, which are form, image, and shutter. And so those will show up as categories in your parameter tiles. It will also show up as navigation buttons for your encoder display. So let's go ahead and say group 5, full, and I'm going to tilt those guys up on stage. And if we look at the form area, we'll get zoom and edge and iris. So you can see that as we zoom those guys out, the beam gets wider or smaller. We can give it a very specific angle. So if we say zoom 35, those will zoom out to 35 degrees. Also, if you look at the shutter strobe parameter, you'll see that there are some modes that are expanded right next to it. Let's go into our image area, and you'll notice this is where our gobos for this fixture live. If I go ahead and expand those, we'll see thumbnails of all the gobos that are a part of that. So I can either roll my encoder wheel to put in different gobos, or I can go in and select them. Just like before, I can either touch my parameter name, use my encoder button, or I can hit gobo select on my parameter tile. And if I type 3, enter, that's going to take me to the 3rd frame of those gobos. And this gobo's a little out of focus, so I'm going to go back to form, find my edge, go ahead and take those back to a sharp edge. Going back into image, we have our gobo select wheel, which will allow us to change which gobo's in the gate. But a lot of moving light fixtures also have what's called a dependent parameter, which is your gobo index and speed. So right now that parameter is in index mode, and that's just going to allow us to statically rotate that gobo. So maybe if we had some Venetian blind gobos coming through a window, we could align those with the scenery. But if you hit expand in here, what you get are the different modes that are available. So index is static rotation. We can also start rotate positive, and then this controls the speed of those rotations. So if you speed that up, you can get some quick rotations. Rotation minus will do the opposite. And again, you can slow that down to be something a lot slower if you want maybe a more dynamic effect like water. For now, we're going to put this back into index mode, so we're static. We're just going to home that parameter. If we decide that we want to home all of the beam category, we can either use the beam tile, which is in our parameter tiles, or if we say select last, shift, image, anytime we hold shift and double hit one of the form, image, or shutter navigation keys, beam will end up on the command line. And now we can say home, enter. The next area we want to look at are shutters. And if your fixture has shutters, each shutter blade will have 2 parameters. You have your thrust, which is how far the shutter goes into the beam, and you have your angle, which is the degree to which it tilts. So if I want to bring in my encoder A, you can see that those start to cut off those beams, and I can adjust the angle of those as well. I can also hit frame angle A and type 30, and that's going to put those to a 30-degree angle. On the first page, we'll give you A and C, which are opposite of one another. On your second page, you'll get B and D, which are opposite of one another. And on your last page of encoders for shutters, you'll get the frame assembly, which allows you to rotate the entire assembly. If I hit shutter again, I'll be taken back to my first page of shutter encoders, but if I want to quickly get to another encoder page, I can press and hold shutter, hit 3, and letting it go will take me to shutter page 3.